Okay, welcome to Activity 9 for Vocabulary Lesson 1, Module 1, Unit 1. And we're going to be looking back at how a teacher presented the word coach to her class, which was in Activity 5, and checking how we can see that students have understood. And here we got some techniques for concept checking, and we have to decide whether they're effective or not.
Okay. First one, she says, coach. Repeat, coach, coach.
Not very effective at all.
No. Okay.
Number 2, she asks, is it the same as a bus? What's the difference?
Not very effective, maybe.
Yeah, I'd only think of upper intermediate or higher levels, but by that time, they'll probably know both words anyway, so I agree.
Yeah. She asks, coach, do you understand?
So this is a classic teacher mistake to ask, do you understand, or early teacher mistake. Obviously, the answer yes or no doesn't really show us anything.
Yep.
She asks,
go ahead.
How do you say coach in your language?
Yeah, it could be effective. I mean, that's the question we had earlier.
Yes.
See, people seem to be very passionate about using L1 in the classroom, but in our EFL context, I'm following the advice of Penny Ur, who says that everything you have is possible to use in the classroom. And if I have a classroom full of Japanese students and I know some Japanese, this might be the quickest way to get through it.
Absolutely. I'll give you a quick example. When I was teaching a student who was a near absolute beginner, he pointed to the word what on the paper and asked in Japanese, what does it mean? And I worked in an institution that had a no first language policy, so I had to use English only, and I spent about 15 minutes going around in circles, not able to explain what meant in his language. He kept saying nani, which is what in Japanese, and I was trying to say yes, that's right, and he was like nani? He's still asking me what. And after that, I thought I would never waste 15 minutes of class time again just because of a silly rule like that.
Yeah, and could have been a Laurel and Hardy routine.
Yeah, looking back, it was funny, but I tell you, I felt terrible.
Yeah. All right. Sure. Okay. She asks, who has traveled in a coach recently? Where did you go? Well, it's not very effective if they don't know the meaning. Right? This might be a nice follow-up, but it feels not very effective at the very beginning.
Agreed. It doesn't distinguish whether it was some other way of travel.
Yeah.
Okay. And last one, who can give me a sentence using coach?
Yeah, not very effective. It's again a higher level application, which would be great near the end of this whole vocabulary teaching idea.
Yeah, to be able to use it in context. I think the other problem is sometimes I remember having students who they can say it's a coach, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they understood the word.
Yes, right.
So it depends on the sentence on the last one. Okay.
Totally. Yeah.
So let's click through, and we only have 3 answers that are agreed.
Did it.
Here we go. So let's take a look at some of the things here. We agreed that just repeating without any picture or connection to meaning was not effective. Number 2, there's a different answer. Let's take a look why.
So they're saying, you think so, but if the students know the word bus, this can be an effective way to look at it.
Right. And so this basically connects back to knowing your learners and what language they already know.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you understand? We talked about this before, but doesn't
not
really
very effective.
Tell us anything, right? They might think it means something completely different, like a coach handbag or a tennis coach. How do you say coach in your language? Yes, we agreed it's effective.
Yep.
And also agreed that different, sorry, not agreed that number 5 asking about where you traveled recently in a coach.
So he's answered here, surely it's a good test of understanding if students can personalize the new word. I'm going to argue that this sounds a little bit more like an intermediate class in an ESL context. This is not so effective and sounds, for both of this, number 5 and number 6, they're both higher level ways of dealing with vocabulary that wouldn't be so effective in an EFL context.
Yeah, I think also the difference between like a one-to-one or a mixed ability group of students where one student may be able to use the sentence and personalize it, but it doesn't help convey the meaning to other students, perhaps.
I want to just argue that it's completely, when I'm doing any kind of teacher training, I will say, if anybody wants to disagree with anything that I say and then back it up with their own logic or reasons, that's a completely valid expression of learning.
Yes.
And so I would be happy to argue with Scott or anybody else on these 2 points, and no hard feelings.
Definitely. I think that's where we've always learned a lot together, by discussing different ideas and so forth.
Cool.
Okay. And giving an example sentence with coach. So Scott said that, yes, he thought it could be a good way of checking the students' understanding because they're able to use it correctly or not.
Yeah, I say that's the same argument, that it wouldn't be the first approach, and we're both thinking of an EFL context. So we said it wasn't very effective, meaning not so effective in our context. Yeah, cool.
Okay.
See ya soon.
See you in a minute.